I got to say, I think the way Ozzy went out, the fact that he said goodbye, all of his musician friends said goodbye to him, the fact that all the money went to charity, it was just like, I feel like a storybook ending that he earned by the way he treated people, because I know some musicians and they talked about opening for him back in the 80s or whatever, and everybody always says that he was super nice, very supportive, was a fan of their band, helped them out, gave them advice. And the one time I saw Ozzy was when Black Sabbath did their reunion in the mid-2000s. And I was blown away by his obvious love and appreciation for all of us showing up. I mean, it was just all over his face. He was so psyched. He just had this fucking ear-to-ear grin, and he just brought it. And then also, I really have to say, like, that guy, the level of funny that he was, and with, you know, some of the awful shit that happened to him as a kid and how dark Black Sabbath was, combined with that sense of humor, he would have been a fucking unbelievable comedian. Like, there's some musicians out there that I listen to them when they just, everything they say is funny, and you look at them and you think, like, this guy could have been a comedian. Both those dudes in Oasis would have been amazing comedians. And Ozzy, to bring it back to him, is like his references and his sense of timing, and he wasn't even trying. He was just hilarious. And I got to be honest, like, I kind of took him for granted. He just was always around. And in a world without Ozzy, my God, it's just like the finality of that was took a couple of days. Unreal. And Hulk Hogan was another one. I remember when he first came out. I saw him so early on, he still hadn't shaved his chest yet. I remember he had, the way he shaved it into like a V. Like he had it like on his chest, and then when it went down to his navel, it went down to like a point. He actually manscaped his chest hair before he shaved all of it when he first came out. You know, some of the great wrestling promos of all time, the WrestleManias and all of that stuff. And I remember way back in the day, I got to meet him doing the O&A show, and we were at the Hard Rock Cafe, and he worked the crowd. Opie was going, hey, you know, because he came on, he was promoting something. He said, hey, any way you can go up and maybe just one time rip your shirt off?
I really just don't think this day would be complete unless, with a crowd like this, here in New York City, Times Square, that Hulk Hogan needs to stand up here and tear off his shirt for you people. Oh, yeah.
There's a photo op.
Come on, baby. Let's see the crab down the whole deal.
No, man.
Come on, Dad, show those pythons. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, that's just like seeing Brooke.
We'll give him a couple poses.
And the crowd went nuts. And he shook his head like, nah, man, I don't want to. The crowd's like, oh, come on, just do it. And he just was, and he wasn't saying anything, just his head tilted to the side, his hands and all of that. And like people were just begging him in the crowd to do it. So he shrugs his shoulders. He gets up, and because it was a long table that we were on, and he walked out in front of the fucking table. Sorry, his helicopter's going by. It's an A-star. I'm not dead. Oh, what he has there is an A-star. You mean that thing you're not fucking ready to fly in? Shut the fuck up, you bald. Anyway, he walked out in front of the table, and he looks at the crowd, and they're going nuts. And then he just looked back at all of us, and he just kind of like shrugged and pointed at the crowd like, I mean, then acting like they weren't into it. And then we were all like, no, you got to do it. We were getting louder. So then we're like, come on, you got to do it. So then he sort of shrugged his shoulders and like half-ass leaned down, you know, and cupped his hand to his ear. The place was like, it felt like the fucking roof was going to blow off. And he was still working us. And I had no idea. I totally fell for it. And I'm like, no. And he just kept shrugging. It's like, you got to fucking do it. And then all of a sudden, this last time, when he turned around, dude, like a switch flipped on him. And his face was not the face that you had seen. He was in the Hulkster fucking, like, this crazy look went into his eyes. And he fucking turned around and looked at us. And I stopped cheering. I was like, is he mad at us? Is he going to flip the table over? And then he fucking stomped. He did this 180, but it was like 3 big stomps. And he fucking looked at the crowd with that crazy look, and he went fucking way down and put his hand up to his fucking ear. The place went fucking nuts, and he just ripped his fucking shirt off and did all the down, up, to the fucking side, and then fucking ripped. The place went fucking bananas. Fucking bananas. Like, he made the Hard Rock Cafe as loud as the fucking Pontiac Silverdome, and to be able to see that live, you know, from up close the way that I did, I like all the fucking crazy moments on Opie and Anthony. Like, that was probably the highlight. It was fucking, to be courtside seats to fucking Hulkamania was pretty fucking amazing.